Hey YouTube. So, we still didn't decorate the tree yet, but we have our boxes of decorations, tins of decorations and stuff. But what I want to show you is something a little different. The other day I had gotten an email, when it comes to all of the emails you get from, like, I get emails from Midway because I bought some stuff from them, and there's some things that are monotonous. 5 emails a day telling you about sales is a little much. But anyway, Jegs, I bought stuff from Jegs already, and I really like Jegs. They seem to have good prices and good quality stuff. Now, this morning the the FedEx guy called, and I have an agreement with him. Rather than drive all the way up this mountain, which is very hard for him to turn around anywhere if he gets in trouble, and with all the gas trucks, I figured, well, every time you have a package for me, you call me, I'll come down and get it, because I don't really go to a lot of places, and it's not hard for me to jump in the four-wheel drive and drive down to the bottom of the mountain. That saves him a trip, and they seem to appreciate it. Some of them don't, some do, but whatever. Anyway, so I got this box from Jegs, and that big slice that you're seeing right here is how the box came. All I did was cut along, where's my finger here? All I did was cut along here, and then through the middle to be able to get the tape off to see what was what with it. Naturally, I wasn't happy to see the box looking like that. So inside the box there's it's a plasma cutter that Sally bought me for Christmas because of the email that I had gotten from Jegs telling this fantastic price for this plasma cutter, and it's $279, and that sounds like freaking ridiculous, but Jegs plasma cutter, Jegs plasma cutter, I like Jegs stuff, so I went on their website before we ordered it, and it had a 4.8 thing, and there was a whole slew of guys that had bought these. Now, I don't need a plasma cutter for cutting really heavy stuff because I don't do that much heavy stuff. And I have a set of torches that I can use if I have to. But I like the idea of a plasma cutter for cutting thinner stuff like sheet metals, especially for car bodies, because it makes it a whole lot easier for me to cut patterns and get a nicer finish on the edge of the metal. So we decided we would buy this, and at $279, it's almost half the price of the one that they have at Harbor Freight. Now, I knew this thing wasn't going to be made in America. I didn't think it would be made by Lincoln. I knew it wasn't going to be a Hobart or any other of the fancy brand names. And that doesn't matter because Jegs stands behind their stuff. So we bought it. And anyway, when it came, like you see the package there, inside there, I took it apart already to make sure that there wasn't anything, really important broken. But there's a face shield in there that you actually hold in your hand. And you know what? If I'm welding, I need two hands free, except for the one holding the torch. So I don't need to be holding a mask. I'd rather wear, a regular welding mask or a set of goggles or something, but not hold it. So that thing was split down the middle. And I'll show you this thing then later on. Because Sally, it's a Christmas present. She really doesn't want me to be opening it and handling it. But at the same time, we're not dumb enough to, if it's been damaged. So the actual plasma cutter itself and all the things that would make that thing work look like they're in good condition. So it only looks like the face mask, which I think, because the face mask was sitting right on top of the box, like face up, I just think that if they stacked anything on top of it, it would crack. So I'll show you the face mask part of it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. See, this is how it came. It came in this box like this, and this is the face mask. There's a lens in there for it, and there's a handle for it. This thing is useless to me. Even if it was in excellent condition, I still wouldn't use it. It would be the first thing I either cut in strips to make welding rods for HDPE, or I would just take it and toss it in the garbage. So I'm not worried about the face mask. I am worried about the rest of it though. The good thing about this plasma cutter from Jegs is that not only do you get, you know, like it's a 110 or a 220, but you get the plugs for it, which I had looked at these plugs. They were like $100 a piece on different websites. Plus you get the torch, and you also get the grounding rod. Now they're not really big and not really long, but I'm not expecting that for $279. But I am expecting it to work. Now it's a lot bigger. I'd say this thing is twice as big as the one that Harbor Freight sells in length, because I bought one of theirs, it didn't work, and I took it back and never looked back again. So we're going to see how it goes over the next couple days or whatever, right before Christmas I guess, or right at Christmas time I'll actually use it. Although that may seem funny to some of you, but it's the principle of the thing, I suppose. But everything else seems good in the box, and you know, anything minor that might be wrong with it, if it leaks air or anything like that, I can fix most of that. As long as things aren't broke like that face mask, and even that I could actually weld that back together with a electric heat gun. But I'm just going to wait to turn it on until Christmas Day. The other good thing about this is it has a surprisingly long warranty on it. It's got a 1-year warranty, which is, you know, gives me plenty of time to open it up and see what's what with it. So anyway, that's what's going on today, and that's what we're going to do with this in the future. But for now, we're probably going to be ending up working on decorating the tree, or at least Sally is.
You're going to reach the areas I can't.
Okay, I'll reach the areas you can. Sounds good.
Like the star.
Like the star, yeah.
The upper part.
Okay.
Like Santa putting the star.
Alright.
That I have.
So anyway, guys, that's what's happened this morning so far. As well as it was snowing out. It looks like it's still snowing, so I don't know how much we're supposed to get. So with a nice hot cup of coffee this morning, I'm also having a gingerbread man that Sally has a friend that came over yesterday, and both of them were doing some baking and stuff, and this is recipe for this gingerbread cookie the girl brought with her, and they're really good, and I'm going to enjoy having this.
Have a white Christmas, honey.
Yeah, I see that. It's really snowing now, guys. Very hard. We're supposed to, they said we're going to have a half an inch. There's already a half an inch out there, so I don't know how much all we're going to get. It all depends on how long it snows, naturally. We only ended up getting about an inch of snow, so nothing to really plow. But I do want to get the snow off the ground, because it'll just turn to ice if I don't. So I'm going to just plow this little inch off here just in my driveway. I'm not going to plow anywhere else. Hey YouTube. Well, unfortunately I have not got any parts for this tractor yet. Apparently Parts Tree, which I thought had the stuff in stock, doesn't. And they have to wait for their suppliers to send them stuff before I get my stuff. But anyway, you know, there's a company out there, and I'm sure some of you guys have heard of it, Car McMaster, or McMaster Car or something. What I did was I sent away for 2 pieces of 5/8 inch thick, 6 inch by 6 inch aluminum. And what I want to do with it is I want to make spacers to put between the axle, hub, and the wheel. Because I can't put chains on this the way it is. And I figured, since it's just sitting here and I have the time right now, I may as well just go ahead and send away for this aluminum and make this. But here's the funny thing about this. I sent away for this aluminum on Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock. I pressed the, you know, buy button. And Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, UPS brought them to the door. I find that amazing. And even though there's prices of this McMaster place is sometimes high, You know what? The service that they give should be commended, because in order to get from something from New Jersey to me in less than 24 hours, I find that amazing in today's world. So anyway, just a little good thing and a thumbs up for that company. In the meantime, I want to take one of these wheels off here and get a good measurement on this. What I've done is I've cut the center of this thing. I actually put it on the lathe to give myself a good round mark, and I have a mark here that I want to, and you can see there's I think you can see the pencil line there. They're 72 degrees, I believe it is, or 76 degrees. I have it written down apart in order to put the holes in the right places to get the lug bolts back in. Now I'm going to have to replace those lug bolts because they're not long enough. You can see them there. They're not going to go through this 5/8 inch aluminum plus the wheel plus have enough to grab a hold of anything. So you can see that I gotta buy new lug nuts, which I probably actually have some around here, and if I don't, Napa ought to have something like that, so I'll go there and check it out. So in the meantime, I want to get a good measurement on this before I drill the holes for the lug nuts or the lug bolts, and then I'll go from there. That's what I've been working on this morning. Okay guys, so that's what the piece looked like when we bought it. And this is the finished piece here now. It's drilled to act as an adapter to bring the wheel out towards me, or out to the outside of the tractor, 5/8 of an inch, so on each side. So that'll should give me more than what I need to get chains on here, I'm hoping. What's the matter, boy? So that's what I've been working on for about an hour and a half, I guess. As far as getting the bolts lined up, you only need, if you have one measurement from the center of one bolt to the center of another, and you can check that, or even from one and skip one, any measurement that you have there, you can figure out the angles, because if you divide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces into 360, that tells you what the angle is in between there. So then you can use the lathe, because the lathe is broken down. There's a stop inside there. There's a gear in that Sears lathe that has holes drilled in it that go around 360 degrees, and you can use that. I think they're every 30 degrees or 3 degrees, or 3 degrees I believe. Not positive, but I think it's 3. I had figured it out before. And then I use that to mark the holes. Then I just drilled the holes in the drill press, and then I finished the outside of this off by using the lathe to get it to be nice and round. So anyway, like I was saying, I'm going to have to get some longer bolts here, because these barely make it through that, to be able to put this wheel on, but that shouldn't be a big issue. Okay guys, so I'll show you the numbers behind this thing. So what I did then was I took a square piece of aluminum and I fit it into a 4-jaw chuck so that it was centered as best as I could get it. So I was touching the corners with a dial caliper off the ways, just to make sure that it was in the center as best as I could get it, within a couple of thousandths. Now it's not really crucial, because you don't have to use the whole piece. I'm just saying that's how I did it. So when I did that, then I took a center drill and I drilled a hole into the center of this so that I could more or less maintain some kind of center of the piece. So then what I did was I went over to the tractor and I measured from the center of the axle to the center of a bolt hole. So I got a number, and then I came over and I measured over from there, from the center of the metal piece out, put a little scribe mark, and then I took a cutting tool and just put a line all the way around the center of it. Okay, so then what I had was, I had a circle, okay, I had a center hole into the square, and then I needed to find the angles. So inside this lathe, there's a little pin here that locks this gear, and what it does is every one of these holes is 6 degrees. So there's 72 degree separation between this hole and that hole. So in order to get that, you got to go 12 marks. So what I did was I put a square piece of aluminum, another piece like this actually, on the ways, and I put it against the piece. And on the circle that I had put in there, all I did was draw a mark. Then I moved this 12 points, pulled this out, moved the 12 points, locked it, put another mark. Pull it out, move the 12 points, put another mark, and that gave me these holes 72 degrees separated from one another. So once I did that, then I went and I double checked that by holding it underneath the wheel to see if all of the lines that were marked on the groove that I made were going to fall into the center of the holes on the wheel. And they looked pretty good, and you know, I just went from there. Now, doing it the way I did it with this thing here, the 72 degree thing, you're only going to be as accurate as whatever the marker is you're using to mark it with. I use like a needle pointer, very sharp. But, you know, it's not perfect. You could have figured out a little better way to do it. I'm sure a machinist would know how to do it better than I did, but that's how I did it. And then after I drilled, I had the center hole, I had all these bolt holes marked. All I did was take a hole saw, drill the center hole out. Okay, I think I drilled that 2 inches, or, well, that's not 2 inches, that's probably 1.5 inches. I drilled that center hole. And then I measured the bolt hole sizes and I drilled them. Okay, I might have to make them next size up because they are pretty snug on there, but they do bolt into the axle, so they're accurate. If I drill a slightly bigger hole in here than what I have, then that'll even make it easier to put the plate on. But anyway, that's how I did it. I'm going to do another one with this one, and you know, it just gives me that extra thickness that I need to get the wheel far enough away from the vital parts on the hydrostatic pump so that I can get it to accept chains. That's what I'm after.